This is the pre-show part. We're going to get into the lower bracket as they have to win a lot of games to get out of here. It's all best of fives. Tomorrow, we're going to finish things up with the grand finals and the final rounds. And we'll crown a champion. Someone's going to get 20 grand. A lot of money to Muslim.
Certainly is, Nathanius. And everybody here so far, I think they've made $1,250 minimum.
Correct.
Making it this far. So
correct.
Nice.
Quite a bit of money on the line. Like, I can't remember the last time top 12 players got paid out in a live tournament like this.
It's pretty awesome. The competition is fierce, though. I'm really excited to look at the bracket just because I feel like it's been drawn in a very interesting way that kind of sets up what you guys were talking about earlier, the non-Korean finalists. And I think it's beautifully illustrated here. You have TY and Bomber. One of these guys is going to be eliminated in the first round of the lower bracket, and Parting and Solar will knock one of each other down to possibly, I'm not 100% sure, but they could actually play against the winner of TY Bomber as well.
Yeah. And I think that Solar definitely favored in the winner bracket game. That's going to be like the last couple of games. We start with the lower bracket, so we do all the lower bracket games first, then lower round 2. And then we go up to the winners' games. But I think Solar's favored, but I also believe that Firecake or Nurture could beat Solar too, up there.
Quite possibly. I think Nurture would be the most likely candidate to advance to that winners' bracket final. And Solar already expressed a little bit of concern about CVC not really being a fan of the matchups. So I think Nurture or possibly even Firecake has a real shot there, but I think Nurture is the favorite in that winning bracket semi number 2.
Other interesting things to note, looking at the way that first round sets up, TY and Bomber have played in the Shoutcraft Invitational. They've already got a little bit of matchup against each other. Likewise, actually, Parting and Solar both competed there. But Puck, if Bomber were to beat TY and Puck were to advance past TLO, he crushed Bomber 2-0 yesterday to finish the night. So it's possible that things still stay really freaky, really crazy, and generally uncomfortable for people that like following normal stats.
I also like that there's 3 Germans left too. I mean, France has been doing really well in StarCraft most recently, but they lost 2 big players yesterday, Patrick Drogo and also Lobo. So it's the Germans that are equal with the Koreans in this, which I think is pretty cool to see.
It is really cool to see. Like, Germany's always had like a widespread talent pool, and they've always had really good like national tournaments such as EPS and what have you. But you never have a player that really leaps to the next level, whereas right now, like, Showtime's the one that's really carrying the flag and has been for quite a while, but you can never forget about TLO when it comes to WCS and stuff. Like, he had multiple top 8 finishes seasons and seasons in a row, so Germany's looking really strong, and Lambo joins the fray now.
I'm just glad that, you know, we've got one bald eagle here. I'm very excited to see how he does.
Yeah, that's also good to see. Puck deserves it too. Puck is actually a really, really good player, and we talked about it a little bit yesterday. He's never really had a lot of opportunities. He's had some, obviously, but not as much as the European players have. So it's actually good that he's taken this one, and it'd be fantastic to see him go through, but I think it's going to be a difficult match for him.
I think that the overall, the tournament format definitely makes it a bit better for a player like Puck, because most of the offline tournaments an American player could compete in over the last few years have been completely open. So you're always up against, you know, several Koreans, like dozen plus. It makes it very hard. Obviously, you know, traveling out on your own dime or sponsored dime to come play in Europe, it's not easy to get out here. But the way that the qualification system worked out, a lot of these players have a really realistic chance to really cement themselves as one of the strongest non-Koreans, and I think this is the best opportunity that Puck has had.
Also, like, as you talked about earlier, that bracket is insanely unfortunate for Bomber and TY. Like, in the groups, they both went 3-2, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and now they're facing each other in the first round of the loser bracket. So by loser bracket round 2, we'll literally be down to 1 Terran already.
Yeah, sad day for Terrans here.
Baby rage.
Sorry, boys.
It's okay. This is what we needed.
It's not fair.
For action to be done.
Yeah, that's true, right? It's like, we think we lost, but really, we win. I think that's all that really
Taking one for the team.
Taking one for the team.
By the way, really impressed with Firecake. I didn't expect him to top that group.
It's really good. Yeah, Firecake definitely impressing. That's the thing though, is the French players, like we talk about like, oh, who's really been hot or whatever, but you know what, actually forget everything I was gonna say. The next match is ready. You guys have probably watched us rather StarCraft. Do Muslim and Snoop. Have fun.
Well done, Nate.
Well, thank you, Nathanius. That was quite the intro. So Yen's going to be TLO, your teammate, up against Puck next.
That's true.
Or ZvP. How do you feel about this? I know that yesterday you talked about how you feel the Zerg might have a little bit of an edge here,
Yeah, especially now that it's a best of 5, and we'll get to see even more of these crazy, crazy maps.
And we have the vetoes here.
We do. First map is going to be a fairly standard one. Orbital Shipyard will be going into that game pretty much right now. And we also have Larry Crest, Dusk Towers, some fairly standard maps there. Ceres, but also Central Protocol, a map that we didn't see all that much yesterday.
So to introduce our players, spawning in the bottom left side of Orbital Shipyard as our Red Protoss, it is Puck. Looking with a smile there.
Yeah,
A relaxed
we could
Puck.
see this from Puck yesterday also, I believe. Just a little bit of funny things going on with the heart in the chat against Happy. Just a very funny character at times. But here in the top from Team Liquid, it is TLO. Looking very focused this time. No gummy bear eating just yet.
He's got to save those for as each player leaves the tournament. Now, ZvP, normally I'd look at these matchups and be like, okay, we're probably going to see some very orthodox play here, very standard, but whenever I watch TLO, I can never expect the standard. So do you know anything special, given that you are his teammate, about his ZvP in particular?
I think right now is probably far more comfortable with this matchup compared to before. Like before, I would probably see TLO doing things like burrowed circling at Protoss player's third, trying to deny that, going for some sort of unorthodox timing to throw the Protoss player off. But so far, from what I've seen in Legacy, he just seems to open very macro-oriented and defending. We saw this against Lilbo yesterday, just TLO sitting back and dealing with the incoming pressure. And
3 hatch before pool. Now, is this susceptible to anything right now in Legacy of the Void?
Absolutely is, but those builds are the builds that actually counter triple hatchery before spawning pool are also very gimmicky, very coin flippy, and if you face anything but a triple hatch before pool, then you're probably going to lose. Builds like Proxy Gateway, pretty much the only safe and sure way to actually punish this, and even then sometimes if you mess up, you can actually still lose. So
Yeah, I've seen games in the past where I believe I saw like a 4 proxy gateway against somebody going like proxy or like hatches and such, and still inevitably lost. But yeah, right now, as these builds commence, we have, is that a Nexus? So the Nexus is done in the natural.
Yep.
He's producing 2 pros at a time. He's going up to 2 gateways. What do you see him doing with this? Because so far this looks very reminiscent of the builds that we've seen quite a few Protoss do, where they push with Stalkers, but he's actually making adepts here.
We saw this a lot yesterday. Stalkers being used together with the Mothership Core and offensive pylons to use the pylon overcharge. This is something you could do on this map as well by dropping the pylons below this tiny ramp here on Orbital Shipyard. But it only seems to be adept pressure here, a little bit more traditional, a little bit more standard. The Stalker pressure, I feel, is a little bit more of an edgy way to play, whereas the Adepts is just a very safe all-round way to start off the game here.
Adepts very good against Zerglings, 2-shotting Zerglings. They have decent health too. If they get into the bases here, and I guess switching between the bases on this map is particularly frustrating. If you only have Lings to deal with it, you can kind of